Good morning, Bethel United Methodist Church family, and good morning to all those who are joining me on my ride to work. Yes, it has been a couple of days since we've spoken. I had a fibro flare-up. It was pretty significant. I haven't had one like that in years. And on top of that, my sinus infection just really took over. So, with that being said, I didn't get to do much. I just kind of wallowed in my own ouch. But the meds are working. Sinus infection is starting to give up, and the weather is starting to give me a reprieve from my fibro. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about perception. While I was laying there, it occurred to me that we have our perceptions drive what we see and how we see it. And I couldn't help but think about the prodigal son. The story of the prodigal son. So here we have, and we all know the story of the prodigal son. I mean, that's the one, even as a non-faith-based believer, I knew the story of the prodigal son. Anyway, so prodigal son comes home. But what we tend to forget is where we are in our life will remind us of how we read things. I remember reading about the prodigal son, and the author had wrote about the perceptions, and it made me think about it. In the prodigal son, the story is that the son asks for his inheritance, squanders it away, and then poof, he's gone. But then he comes home. And when he comes home is when, he's received by his father. His father, welcomes him with open arms, and boom, he is just back in the family. But, and as I said, our perceptions drive what we see. Sometimes while we're reading over it, we may gloss over the fact that it was a drought. It was a famine that had caused the prodigal son to come home. Not just because he had squandered away his winnings, he had squandered away everything, but because now at this point, he was hopeless. He was hopeless and he was alone. So he goes back to his father. And that's what I want to focus on is this week, as we celebrate the life of Jesus and what will inevitably happen in days, I want us to be reminded how Jesus told us all to look at everything, to look at to look at teachings differently. The Pharisees had held themselves above reproach. They're sitting in the chapel or the temple, the tax collector can't even look up at the altar, while the Pharisees like, thank you God for not making me like him. And Jesus tells us, no, we have to look at things differently. And it reminds me that he does come home because he is hopeless, and because he knew where he would find peace and comfort and hope. And it was with his father. It's not because he had squandered away things, or probably that was it. He had hit rock bottom. There was nothing else to squander. There was nothing else to take, and there was no one else to take from, that he realized he was without hope. And being without hope meant that he had nowhere else to turn. So I like being able to look at the Bible verses differently, to look at what we've learned so often with fresh eyes, and to be able to say, I am a follower of Christ, and yes, I'm learning something new every day. He doesn't tell me to stay stagnant in my learning. He doesn't tell us to stay stagnant in how we approach situations. He tells us that we're to go forth, love everybody as an action, not as a feeling. that we are to put actions to words, and that we are to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That we are to, and that's a whole nother sermon and devotional, of which I'll get to shortly, probably tomorrow or so. But I am here about to get my temperature taken. As you can see, I still have that ickiness in my chest, but it's, like I said, it's way better than it was the last couple of days. I think the antibiotics are finally starting to work, thank goodness, because I was pretty miserable. But with that being said, church family, I'm not really sure if you guys like seeing me get my temperature or not, because I'm like the second car in line to get my temperature taken. As the coronavirus has reminded us, no one is immune to illness. We are all brothers and sisters, and even if you're not sick, you can be carrying it to someone else. So stay home. Stay home. Enjoy the extended weekend, even though now we're realizing we may have gotten something that we did not. We may, careful of what you wish for, because you may get it. Because we are here. Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, and you see, temperature taken. Thanks, you too. And thank you, church family. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.